Welcome to Ecomm Cowboy. This is D2C's daily show. It is Thursday, January 22nd, 2026, and there's a lot to be happy about on the internet today. It's made possible for you by our partners Seguno, Postscript, and AMP, and we got a jam-packed show for you today. We talk about one thing and one thing only. Isn't that right, Producer Carson? We talk about what's now and next in e-commerce, so marketers and operators like you can survive and thrive. That's what we do all day, every day, right here, Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. The 10X Marketer is here. And the internet runneth wild with Claude code breakdowns. The future is now, and the gap between the good and the great is ever widening, my friends. Let the wise take heed. Amazon is coming for Walmart. A super center is on its way, and methinks Bezos wants to close the loop and dominate even more than they already do. Goodwill e-commerce surges, hitting record numbers. What's that mean for the rest of us in the D2C game? And we're going to close with a new segment today. Ad versus ad. The infamous Mehtab of Karta Ventures joins us on the show today. We're going to squeeze his big brain, and he's going to give you some great insight on what equity and credit and selling your business looks like right now. As always, I'm joined by my partner in crime, Colin Doherty. Get in.
Let's go, folks. Let's go.
Get into it. Man, there is a lot happening. And I spoke again last night to a top 1% of 1% AI developer. I talked to him. He's living in Munich, Germany. And I was talking with him on the phone last night. And so serendipitous that all of these breakdowns of the 10X marketer and what people in our industry are able to do now with Claude code have run wild. I thought it was very timely, to say the least. He pulled back the curtain a little bit because he's helped one of my media buyer friends completely transform his workflows. And now my friend showed me what he does. Everything happens from the terminal. Everything. Ads launching, updates on Shopify, sales being run, product photos being changed. Everything happens with a few keystrokes inside of the terminal. And now with the Ralph Loop, or a harness, as our astute AI friend told me, I believe that's how he described it. Not only can one accomplish many more things, capacity enlarged, brain and strategy enhanced, much more capable than we once were before. Not only can we do that, but those things can continually run and work on our behalf and build you a business while you sleep. This to me was incredible, and I'd like to look at this. Colin, any takes from you before we dive into this thing? I think we should look at some of these notes from the 10X marketer.
Yeah, let's definitely look at them. I just think this is going to be the trend that is going to be happening from now moving forward. You are just going to be asked for your role to do more with AI, the same way that you would have on job descriptions. It's like, make sure you're proficient in PowerPoint, make sure you're proficient in, Excel, all of these things. They're going to start adding, Claude code. Make sure you're proficient in Claude code. Make sure you're proficient in building Gamma presentations. That's another app that basically spins up presentations automatically. And so the tools are changing, and you're going to be asked to be AI forward moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah. You're definitely going to be asked to be AI forward.
Yeah.
This article comes to us from Ole Lehman. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce his name, but I thought that his article and Greg Eisenberg's video, 30-minute breakdown on Claude Code, how to use it, I thought very insightful. As I scan through it here, he says, I'm as non-technical as a potato. I don't code. It always repelled me to work in a terminal. But since Opus 4.5 came up, things are different. Things just work. Who wants things to just work? I do. And everybody on every D2C team inside of our space does. And then 15 minutes from now, you'll have a tool that builds landing pages, scrapers, and marketing automations on command. This is a very basic breakdown. His first step 1, get VS Code first. Step 2, open the terminal. Step 3, install Claude Code. Step 4, add the skills pack. Step 5, launch it. Step 6, authenticate. Step 7, install the VS Code extension, etc., etc. He walks you through creating your first folder. And then he starts breaking down what custom skills can do beyond this. I was watching some of these videos, especially the one from Greg Eisenberg, and I saw the future. Of course, I saw the future with what my media buyer friends showed me, but I'm seeing the future now, and I realize I myself, even though I'm spending much more time now talking on a camera during my day, I have got to pick up these new tools because working harder, that's not the move anymore. And I've always prided myself. I'm going to work harder. I'm going to work longer. I'm going to sleep less than anybody else. That gives you no advantage now and into the future. What gives you an advantage is being able to leverage the right tools to outpace whatever you could do on your own at a 5 or 10x rate.
I like it.
Sometimes one has to preach.
Yeah.
Tell me, Colin, have you gotten into this yourself? Have you played around with it yet? Have you started digging into these tools to build some things?
Yeah, I've used Replit in the past before to build some applications. I also use Gemini pretty religiously, almost every single day. And then as part of that workflow that's kind of advanced a little bit further is I seldom type anymore. I use this thing called Whisperflow, and I will basically just hit a thing on my keyboard. I'll start talking, and it will just dictate all of that into whatever program I'm using as normal text. And then I just hit enter. And so I'm able to actually provide a ton more context to the AI than if I was just hammering away on keyboard where I'm like, I don't really feel like typing 6 paragraphs. If I'm thinking my actual process throughout, I can really hammer it home and give exceptional context for these types of things like Cloud and Gemini Pro.
I'm still yet to get on the Whisperflow train.
You got to.
I downloaded it. Okay.
Get it.
But I've yet to really get on that train. But a common problem in my world, a pain point that I experience all of the time is video editing. It's tiresome. It takes a long time even to do simple things. And that's why I was intrigued by Remotion, which was a trend. It's trending now on Twitter, and it is agent skills for video editing. It's using Claude Code to produce really impressive, juicy VSLs, ad video, etc. And to me, this was really impressive. I saw a few of these examples. Carson, you probably don't have it, but I can scroll down. I can tell you there are so many of these tweets Okay, video editors are cooked. I made this for Polymarket in 30 minutes. Took 4 or 5 prompts. This took me 30 seconds. 5 Claude prompts. I'll give them to you. Reply. Made this launch video with 1 prompt. There are people who are one-shotting impressive, high quality videos now that you would be more than happy to put on your homepage, to tweet out to everyone who is following you. To me, this really hit it home. Okay, now I've got to, because if I can automate, if I can save myself all this time, exactly. Look at this, bro. Look at this.
Oh my God.
And I hope that people who are working in ad creative right now, I hope they're looking at this. I hope marketers are looking at this. I hope the generalist who's responsible for too many things in their various roles right now, I hope they're looking at this, because all of this is available now if you know how to use the tools. And so to me, this really stood out. And I realized, and I was talking to this AI, I guess I would call him a consultant friend of mine now. I was talking with him. Everything that I described to him, he said, yeah, your problems are low bar and pretty dumb, and they can be easily accomplished. You just need to get into these tools and learn how to use them, and I'll help you. That made me feel pretty good. But I think a lot of what we struggle with and the pain points that we have in e-commerce, they're pretty low bar as far as technical complexity is concerned. So this really excited me.
Wow. This is insane. I think this just probably raises the floor. You know what I mean? Of what is acceptable. And it's really interesting. We were talking before the show of like, there's some, people in orgs who are kind of just coasting by, and they're floating by, and they're kind of doing the bare minimum. And you're like, I don't really know how much output you have.
Yeah.
And then you got somebody coming in and they're like, that job she was doing, I can do that entire thing she just did in probably a week, and then just automate the whole thing. Do you guys want to do that?
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, that sounds way better. Yeah, let's do that.
so that's the risk for, the common white collar worker, not just in our sector, but every sector, who is just doing what they normally do. Maybe they're faithful. They probably leave at 5 p.m. every day, versus somebody else who has these capabilities. They've already done it before. They can walk into a normal hiring process and say, oh yeah, I can do that. But also, have you thought about this and this work stack that's happening inside of our organization right now? All of that can be automated, and that can be done while we sleep at night, and we can wake up the next morning and say, oh great, that's already done. So there's other examples here. Sebastian _D2C. I just took this as a great one-off example. Carson, if you have this one, show it. If you don't, it's okay. But he just gives a really basic example here. And his example is like, this is replacing what could be a potential intern's job. And he talks about, finding TikToks that are performing well. What verbiage are they using? What copy are they using? Filter by views, filter by comments, run the video through Gemini for AI analysis. Now do it for pet supplements. I do it for this category, do it for that category, extract the hook. Who else in UGC could do this for me? Is there an alike character that I could find? This whole thing, this is like exactly what we do. This is exactly what we do. It's tiresome, it's boresome, and it has to be done. And now, if you have this capability, you can walk inside a team and say, yeah, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that, and I can sit on top of all of it. This is where I'm going. I'm going here in 2026. So I'm gonna update. I'm gonna keep everybody updated here. I want to bring this AI consultant on here, and I want to bring my media buyer friend Will Bailey that he has helped and bring on and just show everybody, because I know that a lot of you know this kind of stuff is capable inside of certain tools and everything, but what you don't know is that actually you can have this for yourself if you get into it for a few weekends. And not only can your ad buying be simplified and changed, but it can also be imbued with your philosophy, how you run ads, what you see as good or not, what metrics are important to you. We all know that is like a scatter shot, and everybody has their own way of cooking in the kitchen. I want to bring them on here, and we will. And I'm going to get into it for myself. And now we have a very important person who is joining us right now, and I'm bringing out something special on his behalf, specifically for him. This is the biggest of big brains in our industry, Mehtab of Karta Ventures. Get inside the show right now. You get in here. Get in here. Look at you.
Ecomm cowboy, and I was like, would be a little. I got to show up with dress right. So,
brother, this is for you.
I feel like
for you, big boy.
We're matching now. See,
we're matching. We have
there
to.
We go.
We have to. The thing that I love about this hat, brother, is that burnt orange detail on the band around there. I had to bring it out. Mehtab's coming on. I got to bring it out. He told me you should be wearing a hat. Here I am. I'm wearing a hat. And because we're doing this now, I believe everyone's going to have a great day. ROAS through the roof, profit in all the pockets. It's great mojo all around. Is that fair, Colin?
That's super fair. And Mehtab, I'm super pumped that you're on the show. I want to talk about all the things acquisition. I want to talk about what you're seeing in the market. Where do we even start? I would love for you to kind of paint the picture for D2C brands now and how they're looking at maybe going down acquisitions, potentially multiples that people are looking at, and different types of valuations. How are you seeing the market right now?
And where's it come from? Give us some context on that side too, Mehtab.
Yeah, let's start backwards. So if we start around, let's say 2015, 2011 even, you kind of have the OG crop of D2C brands, a lot of VC funding's thrown at it. It does okay, or it looks like it's doing okay. Everyone assumed you could just kind of grow infinitely and your CAC would stay relatively static. Obviously, it didn't happen. And unfortunately, it didn't look like D2C or consumer in general is really a venture scale business, if that makes sense. So a lot of that funding kind of went away until COVID happened, and then everyone got excited about it, threw more money at it. This is on the growth equity side more than anything. Multiples got really hot for acquisitions. Obviously, you had guys like Thrifting just going around paying absurd multiples for fairly bad businesses, which is obviously kind of why they're in the situation they're in now. And come to today, now things feel a little bit more reasonable. They're almost a little bit cold, depending on the category you're in. So if you're in something like food and bev right now, and you're in the right category. So if you're selling something that has to do with protein, if you're selling something that has to do with fiber, that's going to be really hot this year. It's easy to raise money. It's easy to transact at high multiples. Or if you have something strategic to offer someone upstream, right? Like I think Sour Strips is a good example where it's a candy product, obviously, and it gave the acquirer exposure to something that's not chocolate, and it insulated them from chocolate prices. Because those are just so wild. I'm not sure if you guys ever looked at them, but they've just gone way up. So it's pretty brutal, right? I mean, it's kind of like gold that you're seeing right now. A lot of jewelry brands, they're peeling away from trying to sell gold just because it's so expensive for the end consumer. And the consumer hasn't quite adjusted to gold prices. And you can't do much about it, right? Like if you're selling solid gold jewelry, you're kind of stuck with it. So if you can offer something strategic, you're doing well. But other than that, it's relatively cool. Obviously, there's a few other hot spaces like functional beverage in general, pretty hot. But outside of that, it's relatively cool.
Wow.
Mehtab, I would appreciate if you would just give everybody perspective on how you know this. And the reason that I say this is I've been in our space since 2014. So about a decade. And when you talk, I realize that I know very little to nothing about your perspective that you have on businesses getting acquired, them getting money, credit, investment, all of those things. It's a playground that I have not played in for most of the past 10 years. And so give us perspective on what you do on a daily basis, how you know all this, and then how you can help other people who are looking like, man, I do want to get bought. I do want to get acquired. I do need cash, for what we're doing. Can you give us a little broader perspective?
For sure. I think a lot of it just comes from speaking with investment bankers, participating in auctions, et cetera, or just being, there's really not too many companies that like our obviously one of our subspecialties is turnarounds. There's not too many private equity firms focused on lower middle market turnaround. So let's say brands with sub 150 million in revenue, there really aren't that many options out there. I think it's really just us and maybe one or two others. But most of the time we have such different criteria for what we want that there's not much bidding overlap, if that makes sense. So a lot of it just comes from interacting with investment bankers, participating in auctions, et cetera, where you get good perspective. And then we just talk to a lot of brands too, right? We'll probably talk to anywhere from like 30 to 80 brands a month, depending on how active we are. So it just gives you a lot of perspective. When you're going through those conversations, you get an idea for how much other people are willing to bid for the same company. We do minority equity as well, which is where that comes into play. So they might say, oh, I have a term sheet from X or Y, or oh, I can get credit from X person at a certain rate. So this needs to be competitive with it. And we can kind of see how that changes the market dynamics.
Wow. That's incredible. Yeah, that's absolutely exceptional. When you're kind of evaluating a business, is there anything that, you're kind of thinking about where you're trying to test it against a framework? Or do you have any kind of hard and fast rules where you're like, hey, if we're looking at this business, it has to have these 5 attributes for sure, or we won't even touch it?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is there needs to be some sort of low-hanging fruit or a very clear reason for us to get involved. So for example, we invested in a jewelry brand last year, and we moved the manufacturing facility somewhere else, cut COGS tremendously, and that was all vertical. So it was like completely vertical in one country, moved it to a different country, simplified operations, obviously lowered COGS a lot, and created a lot of extra margin, if that makes sense. So for us, we want a really, really strong catalyst, and that can either be something on the operations side, like I mentioned. It could be something on the marketing side. We don't like to underwrite to revenue increases as much because it's so unstable, right? I mean, you're both, you've been in the game for a while, so you know what that's like.
Yeah.
So we don't like to underwrite to that, but if there is low-hanging fruit, great. And then the other side is, and if it is a distressed investment, we're looking at what catalysts there are around, like bankruptcy or restructuring the current credit stack, pushing them around, and seeing what can be done there.
Wow.
Are there certain categories that you won't touch? You just know. We've been there. We've done that. Not a good
Swimming
fit.
pools.
I don't love supplements. I don't love certain types of beauty. I don't like anything that's very cash intensive. So food and bev, we stay away from food and bev completely. It's just too cash intensive. So let's say you successfully when you're turning a business around, it's not necessarily what you paid for it. It's how much more cash do I have to put in to get the working capital to where it needs to be, right? Like, if you've ever bootstrapped a brand, you know how working capital intensive it is. Let's say you're running an apparel brand, you need so many SKUs, you need so much coverage, then you have to hope you bought right. And if you look at that on the food and bev side, it's already inherently working capital intensive. So the most of your costs when you're doing a turnaround, sure, there's the entry price, whatever that is, but it's negligible compared to if things go well, now you need to fund the working capital for the business. And if you're an F&B or something, assuming it's a turnaround, you just shot, like your history is shot, right? So it's hard to raise credit for that business. It's going to come out of your pocket. So for us, we want to make sure there's a pretty clean path to financing that growth post-acquisition and post kind of turning the business around. So we stay away from F&B completely. I don't love supplements because I feel like it's hard to build a really sustainable edge or anything just too exposed to trend. For us, it's really important. Like I'd rather be able to consistently deliver a return than deliver exceptional return 1 out of 6 times. We want to make sure more or less everything we invest in does well.
Wow. Is there when you're kind of going through businesses, you mentioned a little bit about the fact that you're kind of talking with, we're going to think about your manufacturer. We're going to think about marketing costs. If there's one thing that you could kind of shout on the mountaintop to all these brands listening, is there something they should look at first? It should be like, hey, I have no clue why brands do not look at this every quarter and basically stress test this. Is there anything that brands should be looking at that you'd be like, you need to look at this every quarter?
Definitely supply chain. I feel like almost every time we look at a brand, there just hasn't been enough reps with different manufacturers, if that makes sense. So, it's really normal for someone to say, oh, I talked to 10 manufacturers or even 15, and that's how I ended up with the current manufacturer. I'd say the number needs to be more like 50, maybe even 80, and you need to get out to wherever the product's being manufactured. You have to show up in person. The reality is a lot of business, and maybe we grew up in the digital age, but a lot of these manufacturers are run by older guys, and they appreciate when you show up in person, and they're going to give you better terms when you show up in person, right? I mean, who are you going to who you can extend better terms to? The guy that's berating you via WeChat at like 2 a.m. your time, begging for better terms, or the guy that's actually showed up and then berates you via WeChat, right? So just get on the fucking plane. It's not hard, right? Just jump on the plane, show up there, and they'll love it. You don't even have to know what you're doing. You don't have to know what you're looking at. Just show up in person and go see what they're doing, see what they're up to. Maybe you'll discover there's a process that they're doing that doesn't actually add incremental value to the product that you're making. So for example, we have a floral company. It turned out that our manufacturer was shipping all of the product with the flowers in the bag turned a certain way, like facing upwards. And there's no point of doing that. It doesn't add any extra value for the customer, because by the time the customer gets it, it's obviously been in FedEx's hand, UPS, whoever, and it's just rolled around. So it's like, all right, well, don't do that, guys. You don't need to do that. But we've discovered stuff like that so many times.
I think this is a great point, and to me, it is admittedly it's an unsexy point. It's boring, but there's a ton of profit to be found there and shaken out. I know if I was in the manufacturing biz, somebody came and they wanted to have a big steak with me, and we had a few cold ones at night, and man, I'm gonna love this guy. I'm gonna go.
Well, if your manufacturer's in China, you'll be having a few cold ones during the day too. First thing they do is they want like a full day of getting trashed with you, and you have to say no, sorry, because it's gonna ruin your trip if you get trashed every other night. So
well, other countries have different ways of doing business.
Yeah, it's true. It's just hardcore there.
I find the, hey, what manufacturers do I need to talk to? How many? Oh, I talked to 15. You need to talk to 10 times that. I find it so mysterious. Who are they? Where do they exist? This is the frustrating part for me. And right. To be honest, in some ways, I'm experiencing it right now. I just wish there was somebody down the street I could go shake hands with and talk to. I think this point of going in person is the real point. But how do people who don't have your knowledge and your inbuilt Rolodex, how do they know? Yeah, who should I go talk to?
Yeah, well, you can start with Import Yeti. So Import Yeti will show you competitors' imports into the US. Some people you can mask it. You can just request that US Customs doesn't show that, but most people don't realize it's on. So that's how you can kind of build your initial list of suppliers. Other big ones, obviously going to relevant trade shows in wherever you're manufacturing. So if you're in China, obviously there's a few really big ones like Canton Fair. So showing up in person is great to find those manufacturers that aren't necessarily listed anywhere digitally. Because like you said, they're very buried. You can't find them anywhere sometimes. Import Yeti, like I mentioned, is probably the go-to easiest way to see that. It'll literally just break out a list of who your competitors are importing from.
IRL, man. IRL is the way.
Definitely heard about Import Yeti before, though. It's absolutely phenomenal that data is available. It's kind of insane that it's available because you can just backlog everything. You could also do it if you want to grab something personal as well. You can see, this is what Lululemon uses for their leggings.
No, I do that all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get it. That's incredible. Yeah, I used to run a brand and we had a manufacturer 15 minutes up the road. And there was this process where I would just go to him and we would just talk and do exactly what you're saying. And you get a lot more favorable terms. There's a super famous story from the founder of Toyota going into the factories, and this would just change the business completely. So you're totally right on that. Like it makes such a difference that people don't realize.
And Tom, I would like for you to just give us also a little perspective of just a little realism. I say this because there are many, many founders who have cash flowing businesses, but are stuck somewhere just under 3 million per year. And I've talked to so many, and they have this hope that someday I'm going to cash out and be bought, and I'll live on my nice tiny ranch, and I'll have a few cattle, and me and the wife and the kids will retire and everything will be nice. I bring this up because I have another friend who he has started buying businesses like this. And the first thing that he tells them is, guys, nobody is coming to save you. Nobody's going to buy this thing. I know you may have high hopes, but nobody's going to buy this thing. I will take it off your hands, but it's much lower than you thought it would be worth. Is that true? Is there a dose of realism for people who are stuck in that kind of place? Call it sub 5 million.
Yeah, I mean, oddly enough, so here's how it kind of breaks out. Below, let's call it I'd call it like below 2 to 3 million in net. So just EBITDA, we can use that as a proxy. Below that threshold, you have a lot of people that are buying businesses using SBA debt. And the SBA is just basically the government guaranteeing a portion of the debt. So it makes it cheaper for banks to offer you financing. So the main acquiring pool of people that touch businesses in that size range, they're going to be SBA backed buyers. This pool grows and shrinks with trend. So you saw a huge jump during COVID times where all these businesses were actually transacting at relatively high multiples for what they were. Right now, it's definitely a lot colder. Maybe that heats up. I'd say you still have reason, assuming you're profitable, right? You have reasonably good odds of selling for what I would think of as a fair multiple. So let's say you're doing 3 million a year at, let's call it 20% net. You can probably get 3 to 4x for that business, which I don't know if you're going to retire on that, but it's relatively reasonable for what it is. I think it's pretty good. The odd dead zone that we see, especially right now, is kind of between that, let's call it 1.5 million in net to 3 or 4 million in net, maybe even 5 million in net, where unless you're a good bolt-on candidate for a private equity firm that has a relevant platform in your category, there's probably not too many strategics bidding on you. There's probably not, you're kind of out of the size range for an SBA buyer. You're just too big for them. They can't afford to buy you. So it's almost like, it's like you go from there being quite a few bidders down to very few, and then you go right back up to a lot of really qualified bidders. Because anything over 4 or 5 million in EBITDA, there will be private equity firms bidding on that company, and that will go through a competitive auction process. So
that's very interesting. I mean, it gives me a little more hope for some of the people that I've talked to. I would say even for a lot of them though, 3, 4x, they're kind of like, oh gosh, that's not what I was hoping. I was hoping 10. Give me 10. Give me a 10 multiple.
I think that's like you have to hope Thracio comes back in the game and just does dumb things. I had a bunch of friends who turned down acquisitions from like those. I was like, dude, you got to take the money, give them the keys, and just do whatever they tell you. If they say you got to show up in like clean shoes for 10 years, like that's fine. Just do it. Because that is a great deal. Just take it and run. Like I had a friend who sold a business that was pretty small. I think it was 8 or 10x to Thracio. So pretty great outcome for him. He made a lot more money than he maybe should have. And he took the money. That's smart on him, right? I mean, he was stupid about it. He was like, yes, sir, right away. I'm gonna give him the keys. Let me know if you need anything else.
Here are my keys.
Anything. Yeah, exactly.
Can I get your shoes for you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Wow. That's excellent. Well, Mehtab, we know that you are a busy man, but before you go, would you just take another 30, 60 seconds and just tell anybody who's listening and their interest has been piqued, they want to learn more, they want to talk to you, they want to be one of those 30 to 80 calls that you guys are having with brands per month. What should they do? I know they should follow you on Twitter, but what should they do from here?
Head over to our website, Karta, Karta, ventures.com. Go to the contact us, shoot us an email, and we'll probably reply within 6 to 24 hours.
Pretty good.
We're very speedy. We're informal. We don't beat around the bush. We'll just kind of tell you how it is. And we do structured equity, credit, or just straight up equity. We're very, very flexible.
Colin, maybe you should have gone to Karta Ventures, bro. Maybe you should have you should have done that. Maybe you should have done that. Well, Mehtab, we really appreciate you coming on the show, my friend. And I'm going to be following all those knowledge drops that you bring down on us. And the next one you bring out, we got to have you back and talk through it all.
Cool. Let's do it. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, my friend.
It's wild.
Man, he has got such unique perspective on what is a very important but often not spoken of aspect of what we do. I mean, the guy's he's got perspective on so many brands and deals, and there's so many ways that he can work it that they would be interested on this kind of player and this kind of vertical. And I really hope that everybody goes back and listens to that and talks to him.
Yeah. There's a really good point that was brought up where I think a lot of e-com businesses, they scale and there's the assumption that someone's going to buy it. And I had a really super real conversation with one of my very, very good friends in the space before I was going to sell my company. And he was like, you don't even know if this is feasible to sell. You haven't even thought about that yet. You don't even know any numbers about the feasibility of selling or what people are looking for. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was such a reality check where
Wow.
you have to understand this market and like start with the end in mind. If you know what the market is currently willing to, gobble up, willing to invest, willing to acquire, then you can kind of work your way backwards and go to that. But if you have no idea and you're just assuming, daisies, and it's like, oh, once I hit this metric, we're going to sell for a 12x multiple. And it's like, nah, we're not doing that anymore. We can't do 8x multiples anymore. It's going to be probably 3 or 4. So
I'm glad that he brought that up about 3-4x multiple.
yeah.
It's a helpful reality check. And if we're all just hoping that the business that we have poured our lives into, that we have probably scaled to further than we thought we would get, and we're hoping, well, I'll get a 10x because I love this thing so much. There's great momentum, and it's not always the case. It's not always the case unless Thracio comes back and starts throwing around all of their money, which I think we would take. I think we would take if they would.
I will say too, people should also realize once you sell, you're going to own a big chunk of change back to the IRS in the form of taxes. So you don't get to keep all that money.
Oh,
that nice little check they're giving you, get ready to sign away half of it, because guess what? You don't get to keep it. The government wants that money.
That's why you got to go buy that house in Puerto Rico first. You gotta go to Puerto Rico first. Live there for 6 months and a day per year. You got to be there 6 months and a day per year.
What do you mean? I'm at the beach. I'm working.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so give yourself a little break. There's a plan 12, 18 months ahead.
Yeah.
Move to Puerto Rico. And
what you got to think about.
You got to make it happen. And you can keep a few more dollars. Probably pay off that house. Huh?
That's true.
Think about that.
Oh, for sure.
Think about that. Pay off that house. Just go ahead and get your mortgage. And then sell that thing. Use your tax money to buy the house.
Not financial advice, folks. Please do not
take this. Financial advice. Not financial advice. Not financial advice. If you want to talk marketing, I can talk marketing all day, every day. But don't take. Not financial advice. Well, we have to take some time here. We got to tell all these people, especially the kind of folks that we were just talking about, who want to get acquired someday. They want to get a very nice multiple. I'm talking about Seguno here, Carson. Seguno, they are the only marketing suite that lives natively inside of Shopify. It's in the place that you're already working and dealing and every day, all day long. It's right there inside of it. Emails, pop-ups, banners, reviews. It's all in the same place that you already work, which means you don't have to sync. You don't have to integrate. You don't have to duct tape a bunch of stuff together to get representative data of what's happening with your email back inside of Shopify and match it. It's right there. Your Shopify data is the data, which that brings me great joy, really. This is email 3.0. Your Shopify data is the data. And this is a big reason why Seguno won Shopify's 2024 Build of the Year award. People just like me, when I was scaling Bruce Bolt or a number of the other types of founders that we have talked about who have a wonderful thing on their hands, but they may not have a full-time email marketing manager. You're a marketing team of one. Maybe you're a one-man brand or a three-man brand. You need real onboarding, real human relationships, and people who are eager to help. If you're a lean team with big dreams, you need to work with Seguno. One-click automations, make it easy on yourself and make more money for your bank account as well. Go to Seguno.com. Nice thing is they also integrate with Postscript very nicely. Another sponsor of the show. Go there, talk to them, get an extended trial, extended free trial. They'll give you a free trial, but if you tell them that Colin and I sent you, they'll give you 30 days. So go to Seguno.com, tell them that the cowboy sent you. Appreciate them being part of the show. They're huge. CEO Chris, love that guy.
The man.
He's the man. Okay, moving forward here. It was nice from Mehtab. Capital's not gone. It's just, maybe the environment's a little colder than it was before. Moving forward here. Amazon cometh. Amazon Supercenter is coming for Walmart. Retail, look out, baby. No longer just happy to drone ship your Amazon Prime free shipping order deal to your house. They want to take over retail. And this is the closing of their loop. Big box, physical expansion, distribution, logistics, and data all under one roof. They've been learning from Walmart, and now they're looking to take over from the Walton family. Colin, when you saw this, what was your take? I thought I was pretty impressed by it. I want to see how this thing plays out.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be amazing. They already have all of the data from all the years of owning Whole Foods. And so they basically know how to do this already. With a couple more bells and whistles they're probably going to throw onto this. I'd be curious what type of fun technology they put into this. Obviously, we heard about, you could just walk in, throw some stuff in your cart, and then obviously it just pays for itself and you're just kind of going in and out. You don't really have to pay anything. It automatically gets debited from your Amazon account. That's super cool. You save the checkout experience of in person. That's really great. This is going to crush. If they can bring kind of the Amazon choice and the quote unquote like Amazon brand products in store, I'm going to shop. I'm going to see it. I'm going to check it out. Bring it to Charlotte.
Yeah, I want to go wherever this thing is. I want to go and experience it myself, because all of the bells and whistles of Amazon, hey, bestseller, Amazon's choice, and maybe if I'm doing a lot of business on Amazon right now, maybe there's an easy way to get my brand in there, and get it featured inside of the Amazon Supercenter. To me, this is very exciting and compelling. I don't like the pay with your hand thing. Just show your palm, let us read your face and your eyeball and take your money somehow. That's like Black Mirror, kind of scary for me. But I love that they're doing this, and I'm eager to see how it plays out. I don't know if this is, they've already got world domination in mind, and this is one of 800 stores that's about to roll out. My guess is that this is a test, but I want to see how the test goes, because it's very intriguing, and there's a native kind of entry point. If you're already doing business on Amazon inside of our space in e-commerce, if you're already doing business there, boy, talk about getting an easy introduction, perhaps an easier introduction inside of what they are doing in their new fancy fandangled Supercenter. That to me reads as exciting. You think it'd be easier for people in our world to get inside if it's Amazon instead of Walmart?
100%, because Amazon, if you're already listing on Amazon, they already have the success data from in that platform. I'd love to see, take this one step above. Take this one step above. I'd love to see a Shopify retail store.
Harley, listen up.
Of the shop, that would be just amazing. The top Shopify brands,
brother,
and you just got it aisle to aisle, and it would be so fun. It would just be this really premier experience, I would imagine. All of the fun launches that Shopify does, the really, really great activations they do. Imagine that in a really nice bespoke store. I'm not talking scale like this. Obviously they can't, spin up 800 stores overnight. 20 major cities, make it fun.
Yeah.
Shoot some content. Could be incredible.
We need 4. We probably 5. Okay. We need 4 to 5 stores. Where are they going to be? Well, number 1 is going to be in NYC. Number 2 is going to be in LA. Number 3 is going to be in Miami. Number 4 is going to be in Austin. And number 5, of course, they got to have one in Montreal. I think they're in Montreal, isn't there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably where it would start.
Yeah. But I want to do it in the reverse order, because Austin gets one faster. Yeah. How about a bougie Shopify store, right? One of those stores that you always see on Oren's Instagram, where he goes in and he takes pictures of 20 new products that have cool packaging that you've never heard of, but are, fancy. And you want to pay a few more dollars in there when you go. That would be really cool. Toby and Harley, it's time to listen up and make this Shopify store happen. That would be incredible. Talk about a little kind of celebratory moment for your brand to get featured inside of there. Maybe they have you get your little award, then get your brand featured inside of that store. That's a good idea, Colin.
I like it.
You should talk about Ecomm on the internet more.
I'll try to pick it up.
Okay. Moving forward here on the other end of the spectrum, not Amazon taking over the world in retail, not Shopify's hopeful new bougie stores in the 5 cities that we have mentioned. Goodwill e-commerce is surging and crushing right now. Goodwill hits business records in online sales as online thrifting surges. Thrifting, it's not just like countercultural. Like, it's not just the hippies and the cool Gen Z kids that are doing it and paying $500 for an Aerosmith t-shirt that came from 1987. This to me is signal number one of what is happening inside of our economy right now. K-shaped economy, winners keep winning. A lot of others that are still struggling, but baked into that is the American psyche. I want to shop. I want to buy things. Buying things makes me feel good. Capitalism is great. Okay, well, if that is the case, maybe you don't have so much additional income to pour into your learned, beloved behaviors. Where do you go? What do you do? Here is Goodwill taking advantage of the moment. I think this also reads out so neatly into what's happening on Whatnot, live selling, a lot of which is thrifted clothing that came from hither and thither all over the world. To me, what I hope, and it really says something to me. I hope that marketers, maybe founders who have just done something, they're considering something else. What I hope is that some players in our space will take this seriously and run something like this up. I would love to see somebody see the success that Goodwill and other sellers on Whatnot are having, and nights and weekends start something that eventually becomes $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, ultimately a 7-figure per year business in selling thrifted clothing. I love the nitty grittiness of this. What's your take at first blush here, Colin?
I completely disagree on the signal.
No.
For what your take is on this. I
Stop
completely
it.
disagree with it.
Stop it.
You missed the signal. The signal for this and for all of 2026 is nostalgia. Nostalgia-driven campaigns, nostalgia-driven brands. Goodwill has a ton of nostalgia items. And this is the big push from Gen Z right now. So this is how this whole thing is just scaling up so aggressively. You see a ton of campaigns from brands where it's very nostalgia core. They're bringing back stuff from the 90s, 80s, making it cool again. You can get all of those items from Goodwill, and that's why Gen Z is shopping there. I agree with your Whatnot take and racking it up there. You just have to find the right items because you can go through to Goodwill. I've done this before, and there's just not a ton of great stuff, but you can find a hidden gem. You can go in there and you can find an absolute crusher of a piece where you're like, does anyone know that this is here?
Yeah.
This is an unbelievable thing. And people are like, it's $15. Like, this is a $600 coat.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I think that your disagreement is really just a bolt-on. Okay. I don't think you're really disagreeing with me, really, but I do think this is a good point. Nostalgia. I know for me, I'm 39. Okay. There's no better drug than nostalgia. I mean, if you can take me back to the 90s, to the early 2000s, I can hear the sounds of Green Day. I can hear the sounds, the Goo Goo Dolls. If I can hear that just kind of playing in the background as I experience whatever you're showing me, if it can take me back, I mean, brother, I'm pulling out dollars from my wallet. So this is a great point. And I think too, for Gen Z, who has grown up even more digitally native than we have, I think too, there is a yearning for that analog world. I really
100%.
think so. There's a yearning for it where I couldn't be found online, where the only people that knew me were the people across the street and the people in my school. I think there's a real yearning for that smaller world, so to speak. I think that's a good point. That's a really good point. I love our MHP _ guy, the Kerner office. He's always talking about these hither and thither brands that you can do on Facebook Marketplace and being able to buy Goodwill pallets and sell them on Whatnot. I would love for somebody to do this. Actually, I do know a girl who's doing this right now, and I'd love to bring them on the show and talk about it. I find it really interesting and compelling.
For sure. I'd love to see what hits and what doesn't hit too. Because I'm sure she's bought some stuff and it's just like, what do you do with it now? Go back to Goodwill.
Yeah, not the move. Like, what do you do? I mean, I think the real hook is to buy a pallet and you just you get what you get and then you sort through the thing. And I mean, I think that's the move. Next here, to have a real business, I'm moving forward to AMP here, Carson. You got to know your numbers. I mean, if things are going to go well, you got to know what's my cost of acquisition? What's my LTV on the customer that I just purchased to acquire? How are we trending to forecast? Are we going to hit our goals or are we not? That's why I love AMP. Their personal favorite tool of mine is Lifetimely. It allows you to get all of your stats, all of your data, all in one place and space for boss man, everyone above you, everyone beneath you, for your entire team to know, how is the business doing? If you can't answer that question inside of one dashboard in a couple of sentences with a few key metrics, you probably don't know how it's going. Common problem of mine in every team that I have worked in, everyone's got their data in different places. Google Sheets here, Excel sheets there. Why not save yourself some of the headache? Make it easy on yourself to scale with confidence in 2026. Go to AMP, get on their platform and see what they can do for you. Don't we all want to scale with confidence in 2026? Lifetimely is not their only tool. It's just my favorite. They've got a whole swath of other things on their platform that can help put more profit in your pocket at the end of the day. And I think we need that. Many thanks to our partners at AMP. CEO Patrick's coming on the show very soon. All right. Moving forward here, Colin, I was very intrigued by, especially for our CPG friends, I was very intrigued by this news coming out from Modern Retail about Albertsons. They've got digital screens rolling out everywhere in their stores. And what's going to be on those screens? It's not going to be Looney Tunes. It's not going to be Sports Center. They're going to be running ads. That means that all our CPG friends, especially if they're already doing business, one would think, inside of Albertsons, they're going to be able to flash on that screen. Look at how juicy and delicious and awesome this thing is. Come find me on aisle 4. I love this. I want to buy ads on Mark Zuckerberg's glasses. If I was trying to sell canned protein shakes, I'd be wanting to buy ads on those TVs. What do you think of Albertsons rolling out a new kind of display network here?
Everything just becomes an ad platform. This is the final form. Everything just becomes an ad platform, and we're all just constantly consuming ads 24/7. But I do love this. I think it's really cool. I think it's really great for brands that initially get in there. So if they're doing a special launch with a new brand, you can do something really great with that TV and really make something fun and special. So I really love that aspect of it, and just making sure the ads are actually cool and fun and kind of entertaining as well.
The couple things that I love about it. Number one, it's cool. It's novel. I love that. Here's what I don't like. Probably you're going to have to pay twice. Okay. You had to pay to get in on the shelf, or prime placement on the shelf. Now you're going to have to pay to show yourself on those screens too. Yeah. I think eventually every hard surface, every flat surface that can be turned into a kind of ad is going to. And they even have them on the bins inside the airport. You look at the bottom of the bin that's telling you, hey, go to this thing and buy that thing. Every hard surface is eventually going to turn into something like this. I don't love the thought of having to pay twice, but I think probably consumers are going to tolerate it just fine and probably like to see some real cool, sexy new items up there that they're intrigued by.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I'm selling ad space on my house. If you guys want to buy the front of my brick,
yes,
and I'll throw a platinum screen out there. You can buy some ad space. We can talk about it. We can make a deal.
Yeah. Or my tailgate. Hey, if you want to put an ad on my tailgate, the tailgate of my truck, I mean, it's prime placement.
Let's start the convo.
Let's start the convo. You reach out to me and we can work something out. We can work something out together. As we wrap today, we have got a new segment. And Carson, I think what I'll have you do is you time the overlay and I'll play the music. How about that? This new segment is called Ad versus Ad.
Let's go.
Let the fight begin.
Fight me.
Fight me. You know, I where did I come up with this thing? Late last night, I was scrolling TikTok as one does late at night. And I just saw two awesome ads. I know everybody complains when they're inside their feed. Oh, I saw too many ads. I actually like seeing the ads. One of them I did not know was an ad. But here's what I'd like to do, Colin. I would like to place you in the judgment seat here. Okay. You are our esteemed critic.
Okay.
And play you these two ads. One of them is 2 minutes long. Okay. Yeah, we can skip some of it, but I think you'll get the point. You get entranced by it. We'll play these two ads, and then we're going to put you in the judgment seat, and you decide which one is the winner. Is that fair?
Fair. Let's do it.
Okay. And if you pick the one that I like the best, you give me $100. Okay. All right. Let's move forward. Let's move forward here.
All right, let's get this meeting started. Luke, take notes if you would.
I'm not going to take notes. I'm going to let ClickUp do it for me. All I have to do is sit here and act like I'm paying attention, and at the end, all my notes are categorized and transcribed for me. But that's not it. ClickUp also houses all your docs, tasks. It even has a full built-in chat feature, all done with the power of AI. So when you use one app that does it all, my work is a lot easier.
Luke, we can hear everything you're saying.
Nice.
Nice. I love this one. I love this one. Why did I love this? I never want to take notes. No, do not ask me to take notes. I mean, I'll do it painfully. But never, hey, would you take notes for this meeting? Oh yeah. No, I will not do that. Thank you. I love this. I love it. What are you scoring for this one? At first blush, give me a 1 to 10.
1 to 10? I probably get it at 8.5.
8.5. Okay, pretty good.
It's pretty solid. I like the fact that they changed multiple screens. So there was the shot of him, and then they changed into an actual screen inside of that shot. A little bit of a frame breaker, a little bit of a stop scroller. So I like it.
It's a common problem for me. I think that's probably why I like it. Also made me laugh. I truly believe you can make a man laugh, then he's much more inclined to buy from you.
Yeah.
I like this one. Okay, this next one, and Carson, I may have you skip some of it in the middle, but let's go to this next one. Let's get judged.
You need to repeat yourself until you die. No one cares. No one is listening. And so I had so many people were like asking, like, what was the secret behind the launch? It's like I made 5,000 ads that pretty much said the same thing. Like that was it. And still most people didn't attend the launch, right, of the book. And we still broke the records and did all the sales and donated all the book. We did all that stuff. And still, the vast majority of the people that I have in my audience, 1, didn't even find out about it, and 2, even if they did find out about it, didn't come. Didn't even register. And the few that registered, still most of them didn't come. So, you have to think about this in terms of percentages. If I have 100 people who register for something, less than half will show up. If I have 1,000 people who find out of something on an ad, less than 2% of them will even click, right? So you're dealing with such small percentages that the idea that you want to be clever in any way is ridiculous. And I would say that the longer I've been in business, the more I emphasize clarity over cleverness. I emphasize simplicity over complexity. How do I make this as simple and as clear as humanly possible? And I think that effort of continuing to compress what you're saying and get it simpler and simpler, and that is where it becomes elegant.
Okay, Carson.
And that is where it becomes effective.
Yeah. Skip towards the end, Carson.
The highest converted campaign he had ever done in the history of his company.
Okay, this is an ad. I had no clue, bro. I was so entranced. This is an ad for automate your overlap AI. I'm just entranced. I'm listening to Hormozi. I'm vibing with the story. And then come to see this is an ad for automating clips from your content. Okay, this I thought was so smart. I think this account has nothing to do with Alex Hormozi. They just know that people like Hormozi clips, and so they are making Hormozi clips and running them. Okay, I thought I loved this. Okay, what's your take? You may hate it.
2.5 out of 10.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, the context and the lesson that he's talking about in the clip doesn't pertain to anything of what the company actually does. Well, so yeah, you get all the watch time because it's a good clip and a good segment. But You have to have a vetted person who's willing to also have to have that need on top of the other need of ad buying.
Okay, well, what if you were responsible for cutting lots of video every
Sure.
day? And
Yeah.
you're like, you're trying to grow your business and you stumble upon Hormozi. You're like, great, man. Hormozi, give me some wisdom here, brother.
Yeah.
And you're listening. Oh, man, a great point, great point, great point. And then you're like, wait, WTF? Like, what is this here? What? This video was made automatically with this thing? Like, that's what I need. Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe I am in that target demo. Okay. So maybe, but still, we got a 2.5.
2.5.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, I think that means the winner then belongs to our good friends over at ClickUp, and this is their celebratory song.
To get the people on the floor.
On the floor.
That.
I mean, sometimes you got to celebrate a little bit, and just
like
put a
it.
little shine on ClickUp. Good on you, ClickUp.
For sure.
Ad take down Hormozi.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Well, we have come to the end of our time together here, my friends. Many thanks to our good friends. What I think actually we're missing one. Don't we need to talk about our good friend? If we do, we've got one more friend to talk about here. Carson, we need to talk about Postscript. Bring us up to Postscript. There's a wonderful thing about focus. When you are focused, when you are obsessed, boy, you're going to do great work. You will do great things that otherwise you would not. And that's what Postscript does in the realm of SMS for all of e-commerce. They do one thing and one thing only, and that's make SMS, their goal is to make SMS your number one revenue generating channel. I was surprised when they told me that. I was kind of in disbelief. That is the dare they are willing to take. Why? Because they obsess and perform. And I'll tell you what they did for me. They took us from a low state with SMS, went to a new partner, went to Postscript. Within a year's time, we became a top 1% account on their entire platform, qualitatively, quantitatively. What does that mean? It means lots of money is what it means. And in 2026, I think that we all need that. If you will go to postscript.io/SMS-benchmarks, what you'll find is that you'll be able to get a really good clue. Hey, what's normal for my kind of business in this kind of vertical? How much should I be doing? And then just so you know, when people switch to Postscript on average, they have an increase of 22% in revenue. So I think you're going to be in good hands, my friend. Many thanks to Postscript, our partner here on the show. And we're glad that they're a partner. We're glad that you have joined us today. Also, they integrate very neatly with Seguno. I'm just saying. As we wrap and finish up here, many thanks to our partners. Thanks to Colin. Thanks to Mehtab. Thanks for the knowledge that he dropped on us. Seguno, Postscript, AMP. And thanks to you guys for joining. Good news is we're going to be here tomorrow, and we will see you on the other side.